Good evening, folks. This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates.
This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates coming to you live from the crossroads of the West in Lake City, Utah. The time right now is 7:05 p.m.
There's been barely clear on the backside of the sun, and the earth is rotated, the sun is hitting, the earth is rotated around 3.5 miles southeast of the earth now. The solar wind is also
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the place in North Carolina we're at, from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kittiawah Beach, North Carolina. We come to you tonight with an open heart. Thank you all for joining us. As we've been doing for quite some time, we're going to start off this program with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. I would ask everyone now to please rise. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air,
finest right there.
America's finest, guys. God
5
bless
words
them.
you pronounce wrong.
God bless them for their service. We thank them for their service, and we want you to know that is one of the greatest performances that we have ever seen. This is a wonderful thing, folks. We appreciate it. God bless you. God bless our military, wherever you might be around our globe. We appreciate you and love you very, very much. Folks, we wanted to show you something else, but it didn't show up right there, and I'm sorry about that. We'll show you that another time. I wanted just briefly to talk about Sound of Freedom. We've talked about this for a while now, for about 2 weeks. Sound of Freedom is a wonderful movie, and I can play a clip of it if you want, but what I want to talk about is just what it meant. Okay? The Sound of Freedom is one of the strongest movies that I have ever seen. The content of the movie was very, very strong. The content of the movie raised emotions in me that have been buried for quite some time. Every time I've heard about child trafficking, it irked me. It was like a stab in my heart. I had a case I think I told you about where we stopped a female sex trafficker and his buddy on the pedestrian bridge from the United States to Tijuana. We stopped them dead in their tracks. Unfortunately, they resisted arrest, and we had to take them down. We had to transport the young woman that they were hauling over the border back to a hospital because they had drugged her. I believe they may have even raped her in San Diego City. But folks, I cannot let it go. One of my dear friends is maybe already in this chat room. I don't know, I didn't see her come up here yet. Her name is Laura. She's a very dear friend that we go way back. She and her husband John saw the movie. And yes, because of the crimes that I had to deal with when I was a federal police officer, it came in strong with me. The Sound of Freedom was a movie that she and her husband John cried at. She said she cried so hard throughout it. She says that she's been aware of human and sex trafficking for years. And she and her husband John have donated to OURS because I wanted to help people, free people trapped in that horrible situation. I became aware of it because I did research for a book that she wrote about her own life. So folks, I still urge you very strongly to go see that movie. If you have not already seen it, go see it. It's one of the best movies I have ever seen. So folks, I just wanted to say that at the beginning of this program tonight. It is indeed an emergency that we have the ability to stop. We can advise our state governors, our legislators. Yes, we have that ability to tell them to stop it right now, to do whatever it takes to stop it, or they will be out of a job in 2024. They will be in the breadlines if they don't do what we want them to do. And we've talked about this before about other issues. You can call your state legislators, you can call your governor and tell them you want this stopped. And if they don't do it, if they don't start taking action immediately, you warn them. You will be out of a job come next year. Because we will not tolerate this again. No more. It has to stop. And also tell your senators and congressmen in Washington, that they must stop it right now, as well as that man in the White House, JB. They have the ability to put people in Homeland Security that will go after these traffickers. And if they don't, even the Secretary of Homeland Security may be out because he is not doing his job and he's lied to Congress. So we have that ability to get them out of there, and I urge you to do that. Okay? Kristen Cashel says, can we do that about USGS lying to us? Oh yeah. You think I haven't done much or I haven't done enough? I have called USGS myself, and I've called them on the carpet. I've called my state senators and congressmen, both here in North Carolina and back in Utah. I've called my Idaho state senators and congressmen because I am originally from there. I've called the California people. Okay? Senator Issa from California I used to live in that district where Congressman Darrell Issa. I used to live in that district where he represents now. He took over from Ron Packard that I used to work for. You can call them. Congressman Issa knows me. That's why I called him. You can call anyone over there if you live within those boundaries. Call them and tell them you've had enough, that you want this stopped immediately. And tell them if they don't do something about it, you will make sure they are replaced and we will put someone else in there that will. Period. Okay? But anyway, that I wanted to get that off my head right from the beginning. Now I want to start off this program with a little bit of fun. Okay? There was a story that came across my desk yesterday. It was about an otter. Okay? It was about an otter. Now this otter has been making a mockery of people in Southern California. All these surfers that are there in California wanted to go over and surf. And this otter, guys, I'm sorry, all of a sudden,
Otter 841 is still roaming the waters of Santa Cruz. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the Monterey Bay Aquarium have been working to try to capture the infamous otter.
Should she be captured? I don't know. I'm kind of on the don't get rid of the otter.
Those I spoke with along the coast in Santa Cruz lean towards having Otter 841 remain in her natural environment.
I think the thing that I would be most disappointed to see is the otter being put into her facility when this is her environment and her home.
Native Santa Cruz's Mark Woodward has been capturing various photos of Otter 841 interacting with people on the water. While there have been reports of 841 getting aggressive, those behind the capture say there's another safety risk. In a statement to KION, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says in part, quote, due to her unusual lack of fear of humans, she is more susceptible to boat strike or a fatal intestinal blockage from consuming parts of a styrofoam surfboard, end quote. If it comes down to the otter's safety, some say she should be captured.
If her life is at risk at all by humans being so close to her all the time, then it might be an option.
However, the Fish and Wildlife Service adds if ocean conditions prevent successful capture efforts or if her interaction with people cease, capture efforts may be suspended. With the search going on for multiple weeks now, I also asked, what is the cost of the search? Fish and Wildlife tells me, quote, any cost associated with capture efforts would be from biologist staff time assisting with planning and capture efforts. The team has been using existing resources that are a regular part of wildlife conservation work.
Okay, it's Otter 841. As it said in the beginning of this video, this otter is having problems, actually consuming pieces of surfboard. Believe it or not, this otter has consumed pieces of surfboard, and people have been threatened by that otter that you saw sitting on the edge of that surfboard that this lady surfer was at. I'm trying to find the clip right now. Right there. Right there. That otter's actually climbed on people's surfboards. That otter's actually eaten pieces of the surfboard. Kimberly Hopkins says, surfing otter? Oh yeah. You saw that picture of the otter on the surfboard itself. But anyway, I just thought it was kind of interesting because when I lived in California, I took a trip up to the Monterey Bay. Around the Monterey Bay, these otters are all over the place. I've seen them in the water. I've seen them right up next to shore, resting and sunning themselves on the shore. I've seen otters in San Diego. This one happens to be off the coast of Santa Cruz, California. And you can see it coming out of the water there, trying to get on this surfboard with that lady surfer on there. Okay? Santa Cruz, California. Okay? Just want to show you that. I didn't mean anything by it. Renee Seffi says maybe it has a den nearby. Well, this is offshore. There's no nearby den unless it's underwater, and they can't just live underwater. They still have to come up for air occasionally. So they're not sleeping underwater. Sometimes they sleep on their backs and float along in the surf until something wakes them up. But that's what's going on. I just thought it was a little bit of comedy relief for our tense moments that we've had here on this show. Okay, with that said, I want to talk about space weather and what we've seen. Okay? What we've seen. This is a picture from the Solar Dynamic Observatory, the SDO. Look at what we're seeing here. You're seeing the sun literally explode. Okay? You're seeing the sun literally explode. The sun itself is not exploding though. Okay? We're only going through a minor G1 class geomagnetic storm. Now, it's possible during the early hours of July 27th, 2 days from now, we're going to see a faint halo CME that is expected to hit the Earth's magnetic field. The storm cloud was hurled towards us on July 23rd, Sunday. Okay? Sunday afternoon, July 23rd. And it was hurled out of the sun by a complex eruption involving a C5 class solar flare and sunspot AR 3376. Okay? And the liftoff of a relatively nearby magnetic filament. I want to show you that now. Okay? Okay, this is that same sunspot. Look at that magnetic filament lifting off the sun. All that plasma energy hurled out from the sun Sunday afternoon. Now, with that said, the sun is very active. Right now, that same sunspot is over on the northeastern limb of the sun. To us, it's on the right side of the sun. Let me see if I have that picture to bring up here. I think I do. Oh, come on, you crazy thing. Hold on a second. It's never available when you want it. I've kind of figured that out throughout my life. It's never available when we want it. Okay, hold on. Yes, I've got it right here. This is that solar disk I was talking about. You can see 3376 up here on the upper right side of the solar disk as I'm showing it to you right now. You can see it. Okay? That sunspot is the one that fired off that solar flare, that CME. And at the time it was just a C class, a moderate C class. Today we've had G1 solar flares leaping out. And we're going to see the remnants of the Halo CME that was launched off Sunday, and we're going to see that possibly starting late tomorrow night and exactly on Thursday. Okay? So we're going to see a solar storm. And that solar storm can cause a lot of problems. We're hoping it does not. Okay? We're hoping it's only minor. But I wanted to bring that to your attention as well. Now, with that said, there's a lot more to talk about tonight. Okay? I told you we're going to talk about the what's been going on just off the coast of California and in California itself is in terms of earthquakes. Okay? Earthquakes. Right here is Bakersfield. Okay? Right here is Bakersfield. I'm going to jump out here and enlarge this so you guys can see it. This is out in the desert. Right out in the middle of the California desert in Southern California. This seismic energy here happened because of the San Andreas Fault. Okay? All we're seeing here are minor tremors. There is no earthquake activity happening here except for minor tremors. That's all. Okay? And you see at the very least microquakes. Microquakes and tremors. That's it. Out here in the desert. Now, with that said, I'm going to show you a lot of activity here. Okay? I'm going to go from the desert into Los Angeles, and then I'm going to go down into Southern California, into San Diego. Then I'm going further out east into the Imperial Valley. Okay? But folks, this is very important to understand. Now, in fact, before I show you this, okay, before I continue to show you this, let's go take a look at what has happened around this globe of ours, and particularly in California. I want to make sure that everybody understands what we're seeing and why. I think that's very important to everybody. We had quite a few people last night ask us about what was going on in California, Southern California. So that's what we're going to show you tonight. Okay? Let me open this up. Okay? I'm going to back this out to show you some bigger earthquakes, okay? Because there's been quite a few rather large earthquakes. Nothing big, nothing huge, just large earthquakes. This was a large 5.0 that happened in the Solomon Islands, okay? This was this afternoon, about 3:30 this afternoon in the Solomon Islands. A 5.0 earthquake, okay? I'm going to zoom in here to get you a real good look at what's going on. This did not happen near any landmass. This happened several hundred miles away from the nearest Solomon Islands. Okay? Nowhere near it. So the ocean water absorbed the seismic energy from that earthquake. If anything, they might feel a little bit of tingling underneath their feet. Nothing big. Okay? Now look at this. This is over here. I'm going to enlarge it here. This is over in Indonesia. Folks, I have real problems with this, as you know. Over here, okay? Central, south, or south central Indonesia. This is a 4.4. Okay? And I can never say this word correctly, as I've tried over the years. Kepulauan, 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 Babar, Indonesia. Okay? Just a minor 4.4. It's a moderate quake. Okay? Where it struck here, there are a bunch of tiny islands, but for the most part, this is just out in the ocean. So again, the ocean water absorbed the shock waves. No big deal. No big deal at all. Then we come further south and west. Okay? This, folks, is Indonesia. Timor, Indonesia. This is a 5.5. Very large earthquake. Anything from 5.5 to 5.9 is considered to be very large. Okay? 5.0 to 5.9 are large earthquakes. This is a mid-range 5. Okay? This again was out here in the ocean. I don't think anyone may have felt it unless they lived very near shore. Okay? This earthquake was long distance from the shore. Okay? Unless people lived right alongside the northern shoreline, and I don't really see much of that happening. Okay? Most of this is just cliffs. Okay? So I don't see many people being hurt or damaged from this quake. Okay? Again, the ocean waters absorbed most of the shock waves. If anybody felt it, they may have felt it as a moderate quake. Rattling dishes or cupboards. Now this place is an impoverished nation. Okay? If they have any damage, it's a big deal. But I don't think that is the case in this case. These are not the only earthquakes that have happened. These are only the earthquakes that the USGS wants us to see. This is a 4.7 here. This is just north of Central Java. Central Java. This is a 4.7 magnitude earthquake out here in the ocean again. Okay, a 4.7 with this ocean here. Water absorbed the shock waves. People on Java probably didn't even feel it, but there's something else going on here in Central Java. In case you guys haven't heard about it yet. Merapi, and I'm not sure exactly, I think it's right here. Merapi volcano erupted. A 32,000 foot eruption. 32,000 foot eruption from Merapi, and villages around the volcano had to be evacuated. This is not the first time Merapi's erupted either. Merapi erupts about once a month or once every other month. It's been erupting now for quite a long time. Mount Merapi over in Java, Indonesia. Then we come over here to north central Indonesia. Okay? This is over near Tobelo, Indonesia. Again, this is an earthquake that happened in the middle of the ocean here. This is a 5.1 magnitude earthquake. Okay? This is only 33 miles deep. The others were very shallow as well. Not a big deal. But what you're not seeing is all the other 3s and 4s all over this area. Okay? There's some 25 other earthquakes just in Indonesia alone. Not even up here into the Philippines here. Okay? Mindanao, Philippines is that big island that's in the center of your slide here. And the other outlying islands here in the Philippines. Okay? These also get hit. This northernmost island in the Philippines, that is Luzon Island. And it's usually getting hit with earthquakes as well. But our own agency doesn't want to show it. Okay? They just don't, for whatever reason. We have an earthquake that just hit just about an hour or so ago. This one is up in the northern Mariana Islands. This is 134 miles north of Saipan, Mariana Islands. Okay? Right here. It's on that same earthquake superhighway where we always see these earthquakes. Okay? This is also an aftershock that just happened. This is a 4.9, 5.0. So we've had 2 5s here. This 5.6 here and this 5.0 here. Okay? It's out in the ocean. Okay? If anybody felt it, folks, they had to have been on one of these very, very small islands here in the Mariana Islands. And yes, some of these islands are inhabited. Okay? I've zoomed in here now just to show you one of these islands here. Okay? A lot of these islands are not inhabited at all. I don't believe that island's inhabited at all. Some of them are. But the nearest island there did not see any damage from that 5.6 or that 5.0. Okay? In the northern Mariana Islands. Over in the Kuril Islands north of Japan, right between Kamchatka Peninsula and Hokkaido, Japan. This is a 4.9, 5.0 earthquake here. But look at this earthquake. It's a 5.1. This is 184 miles south-southwest of Severo, Kuril Islands. Okay? The Kuril Islands, from what I understand, are uninhabited islands. Russia owns those islands. We have nothing to do with them, except watch earthquakes. Because these are on that same ridge, running from Japan all the way north, up here to Kamchatka Peninsula. The same earthquake superhighway that also connects over here with the Aleutian Islands. Okay? So when we have these large earthquakes, they also tend to go through the Aleutian Islands and into Alaska. Over here, just east of the Rad Islands, okay, this is the Andronov Islands here. This is a 3.7 small quake. Okay? A 3.7 small earthquake here. It's nowhere near land. It's just on top of the earthquake fault. On top of the earthquake fault. Most of these islands here are not inhabited at all. The only thing that are on those small islands are birds. Okay? Then we come further east. This is the Fox Islands. Yes, some people live here on the Fox Islands. But again, this earthquake is literally further south from the Fox Islands. Okay? This is a 3.7 small earthquake here. Okay? This is 21.8 miles deep. Okay? It's in the crust, a tectonic earthquake. Over here, This is south of King Cove, Alaska. This is also a 3.8 small earthquake. Now we have seen 3.7, 3.8 earthquakes. And they're pretty much at the same depth. This is 25 miles deep. Okay? So we know something's going on there. Okay? It's south of Sandpoint, Alaska. It may be an aftershock from the Sandpoint, Alaska earthquake we had here, but I think it's further south from the area. It may or may not have anything to do with it. Okay? Then we come down here. Okay? We have another volcano here. We talk about this quite frequently. Old Ililama volcano, when we have a bunch of tremors here. Folks, when that happens, if those of you have not seen me talk about this volcano before, here in Alaska, Old Ililama volcano has been steaming. These swarms of tremors indicate magma coming into the magma chamber of the volcano, which means swarms indicate large earthquakes to come. And in this case, there could be an eruption of Old Ililama volcano. It has not erupted in a very, very long time, even though it is steaming. Okay, that's a 0.5 tremor there. This is what they call a 0.0 surface quake. However, this is over a half mile deep, so it is not a surface quake. USGS. It's incredible what they put here. Okay? Further north here, this is a 1.4 tremor at the volcano. This is 0.1 here. Okay? We go across this spit of land to another mountain. Okay? This is Karluk, Alaska. 55 miles northwest of Karluk, Alaska. Okay? Over here, this is a 0.5, and USGS has this as part of the Alaska Peninsula. Yes, it surely is. Okay? But look, guys, this is right near a volcano. This is a 0.1. Also 52 miles northwest of Karluk, Alaska. It's 5.4 miles deep. Okay? This earthquake right on the shore. This, they say, is 30 miles northwest of Karluk. Well, guys, it's on shore. It's not northwest of Karluk, Alaska. This is 49 miles deep. Why am I reporting this? Because, guys, these deep earthquakes usually, this is not really a deep earthquake, but this may be down in the asthenosphere where the plastic magma is. Why am I saying that? Because the plastic magma is down below 39 miles deep. The Earth's crust is between 39 to 69 miles deep. That's the deepness of the crust, okay? The thickness of the crust. Down below that is where the plastic magma is. And folks, this earthquake could very well be down in the magma below the crust. Okay? That's why I'm pointing it out. Okay? Then we can go further north here. Look at this. Coconut, Alaska. Kokhanock. Coconut, Alaska. Okay? A 1.2 tremor right next to another volcano. This area is ripe with volcanoes, guys. Alaska, I believe, has 161 volcanoes all over the state. Over here near the shore of the Alaska Inlet here, okay, it's called the Cook Inlet. This is a 1.6 tremor here, up towards this other volcano, we have a 1.5. Okay? Now, we're getting up near Mount Redoubt here. On the south side of Mount Redoubt here, we have a 1.5 tremor. Up here near the volcano, we have a 1.2, and we also have a 1.5 near Mount Redoubt. Okay? Going over here near Anchorage, they're calling this Southern Alaska. They don't have the huevos to point out a town. There are plenty of towns out here around Anchorage, Alaska, including Anchorage. And it's right here, guys. This is a 1.0 tremor. There are a lot of tremors here. This is near Skeetna, Alaska. A 1.1, that's just north of Anchorage, northwest of Anchorage. This one here that I just lit up, this is 1.3, and yet USGS is not even naming towns here. Okay? Just southern Alaska. Isn't that just peachy keen? Going over here to Denali National Park here. This is near Mount McKinley, if not on Mount McKinley here. This is a 1.0 tremor at Denali National Park. They're calling this Central Alaska. This is not Central Alaska. Okay, this is Denali National Park. Over here, on the western side of Denali National Park, this is a 1.0 tremor. They're saying this is 12 miles south-southeast of Denali. How can that be when it's on the western side of Denali? Okay? Now, guys, I'm only pointing this out to show you that USGS did not have their act together. Okay? Just saying. You can see it. You can see it. This is another earthquake at the north side of Denali National Park, but they're saying this is west-southwest of Catwell, Alaska. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's over here on the north end of Denali National Park. You see what I'm saying, guys? This is insanity. Then we come up here. This is Minto, Alaska. This is a 2.5 near Minto, Alaska. Minto, Alaska is right up here. That's Minto, Alaska. Now, I'm going to back out here because there are no other earthquakes north of that location. Yesterday we had earthquakes over here along the Arctic Circle. We had earthquakes up here at Katavik, Alaska, near the North Shore. Okay? So I'm showing you that. Folks, this happens. Stuff happens. They're still not showing anything in Tonga. They're not showing anything down in New Zealand at all. They're only showing 2 earthquakes over in South America, which is a joke. They're showing 1 earthquake down here in the South Sandwich Islands, the South Atlantic Ocean. This is a 4.8 moderate quake. There is no one living on the South Sandwich Islands. Possibly seabirds and otters. Well, I wouldn't even think an otter. Penguins, probably. Okay, not even otters down here. It's too cold. Okay, nobody's living there. Scientists occasionally go visiting there to just check out the ice and the soil in the springtime. Okay, but there's storms there are incredible storms, and so scientists don't make that voyage very often. They're not showing any earthquakes over here in Africa. Okay, there are no earthquakes being shown here in Europe. Isn't that a joke? There are plenty of earthquakes there. They're showing this 5.5 over in central Turkey. This is not central Turkey. This is western Turkey. Western Turkey. This is right at the Ottoman fault line. Turkey and Syria here. This is just one of many large and moderate quakes that have been happening here. This is an aftershock. This 5.5 very large earthquake here in Turkey today is an aftershock of a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that happened here about 4 months ago. Okay? This is also put at 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. I call crap on that. This is a tectonic quake. I don't believe it was 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. I just don't believe that. USGS slants a depth on an earthquake literally out of the back of their head. If they don't know the depth, they just say, oh, it's 6.2 miles deep. They have the sensors, folks. USGS and our European allies have sensors out here. They can know almost beyond a shadow of a doubt how deep these earthquakes are. And yet they just slap this depth on this earthquake. They're not showing any of the other earthquakes here. There's about 65 earthquakes here today, give or take a handful. 65 aftershocks. Okay? And that's all they're showing. That's all they're showing. We come down here, and I forgot what this this waterway here is. I believe it's a Gulf of Oman. I believe this is the Gulf of Oman. Over here in southern Iran, we have a 4.2 moderate quake. There's other quakes here, but again, this agency doesn't want to show them. Okay? There's all kinds of earthquakes here in Russia that I've heard come over earthquake tracker. Earthquakes here in China. Earthquakes all over this world that we live on, and yet USGS does not want to tell us about it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Over here. This is on the northwest side of Mauna Kea, the big island of Hawaii. This is on the northwest side of Mauna Kea. This is a 1.5 tremor. Now, I did not pull the seismic activity about from the big island of Hawaii. I probably should have. There's plenty of tremors and minor earthquakes hitting Mauna Kea. USGS doesn't want you to know that. They just don't. Rarely do they ever put any earthquakes up here at Mauna Kea, because they don't want people to know there's just as many or more earthquakes hitting Mauna Kea than over here at Mauna Loa. They're only showing one earthquake here at the center of Mauna Loa. Okay? This is a 2.1 minor earthquake. They call it 17 miles east of Hanamau Napapu. Hanamau Napapu. This is at Mauna Loa. Okay? This is also 21 miles deep down in the magma chamber of this this volcano. Over here on the northeastern side of the volcano over here, okay, on the northeastern slope of Mauna Loa, we have a 1.8 tremor. This is also 14.3 miles deep. Again, down in the magma chamber of the volcano. Okay? Then further south here, this is Pahala, Hawaii. Okay? We have two earthquakes here that just happened. This is a 2.2 minor earthquake. This is also 20 miles deep. 20 miles deep. This one is a 2.2 as well. Okay? We can see other earthquakes here as well. That's a 1.9 tremor. This is one that's 2.3 magnitude. Okay, that's 18.7 miles deep. Why are these here in Pahala that deep? Folks, Pahala is like a gas station for the Big Island. The magma coming from the very deep part of the South Pacific. Let's back out here and go back down to the South Pacific real quick. Down here in the South Pacific, there's an under-ocean plume. Underneath the ocean down there in the crust, we have a magma plume coming up from the center of the Earth. That magma plume is distributing magma all over the world, to all the world's volcanoes. Over here at Pahala, Pahala is the distribution point for magma. It's like one great big huge gas station sending magma to the volcanoes. It sends it over here to Pahala, it sends it over here to Mauna Kea, and there's also another volcano right here, okay, called Hualalai. Hualalai. It's right in here. Hualalai volcano. Okay? There's also another volcano down here that has been erupting and it just stopped erupting recently. Okay? This is Kilauea. We don't see any earthquakes here at Kilauea, but that does not mean there are no earthquakes. If I had been here pulling seismograms here at Kilauea, there's plenty of tremors and earthquakes hitting here. Okay? But down here south of Kilauea, this is a 0.8 microquake south of Kilauea. Okay? Now I can pan out here over to Fern Forest. This is Fern Forest, guys. Down here. And this is south and east of Kilauea. This is a 2.6 earthquake. Now, you might say, why are we having earthquakes here? These are magma chambers, guys. We found out when Kilauea erupted 4 years ago that there were magma chambers here coming from possibly even Kilauea itself that were feeding fissures. Fissures that opened up from Fern Forest here all the way up here north into Leilani Estates, what they call the East Rift Zone of the island. The East Rift Zone, RAFT. The East Rift Zone. All the way up here to Leilani Estates. Now, I enlarged this slide here so you can see the lava plumes coming up from steaming hot lava that was boiling to the surface when these fissures opened up. Yeah, these are gas plumes from the fissures, from the open lava fissures. Okay? This is what they look like. Down here at the ocean, you've seen these plumes here. This is from hot lava being emptied out of the fissures here in Leilani Estates, making its way down to the ocean. Yes, those fissures that opened up dumped lava down the slopes of the island. They made new land here. They made new land. And when that lava emptied out into the ocean, it also created sulfuric oxide. Sulfuric oxide. When that lava met with the ocean water, the salty water, it created sulfur oxide. Okay? When it hit there, the ocean water was cooler than the lava, wasn't it? When that lava cooled, it created little tiny glass, slivers of glass, called pele's here. Pele's here. For those of you that don't know it or have not heard that term before, that is volcanic glass. And it was so fine that people could get it on their skin and the glass would cut their skin. people would breathe that into their system. It would cut their respiratory tracts and even make cuts in their lungs. So people were asked to wear face coverings over their face, meaning over their nose and mouth, so they would not inhale the Paley's hair. Some people that lived in the region also wore goggles to not get the Paley's hair in their eyes. They wore long sleeve shirts or jumpsuits so they would not get any of that Paley's hair on their skin. People were told not to be close to the fissures because of sulfur gas, sulfur dioxide gas. Okay? So that's what's going on here on the Big Island. Okay? You heard it here first. How about that? Now, yes, I'm going over here back to the mainland United States. We're going to be talking about earthquakes in California, Southern California. Okay? I'm going to start off in Northern California over on the San Andreas Fault. Over here, just southeast of Monterey Bay. This is on the San Andreas Fault, guys. This is Tres Pinos. Tres Pinos here. We've had a lot of earthquakes here, and it's not just been 1.3 tremors like we have today. Folks, we actually had a 5.0 hit here 3 years ago. I reported on it. A 5.3 earthquake hit here. No, I'm sorry, it was a 5.1, I'm sorry. It was a 5.1. There was enough shaking causing a pipe to burst at an oil refinery there in Tres Pinos, causing a massive fire. Okay? Traffic was backed up on Interstate 5 and other major roadways in that area for a long, long time. This happened during rush hour in the afternoon. I think it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. A bad time for a very large earthquake there. Okay? But today we just have a 1.3, 1.4 tremor there. Tres Pinos. Then we come all the way down here for the south. This happens to be the earthquake capital of California. This is Parkfield, California. Parkfield, California. Earthquake capital, because it has more earthquakes every year than any other place in California. Okay? This is also 1.1 tremor here. Parkfield, California. A while back on my other channel, before it was taken down, I had done a special on Parkfield, California, showing you exactly why and how it's changed the earth in that area. It's actually altered roadways. It's altered the way buildings were connected. They had to alter a hallway, build and alter a hallway of a building to connect with the building it once was already connected to, because the earth moved. Parkfield, California. Now, the San Andreas Fault moves down further into Southern California here, north of Los Angeles, north of LA. Now, northeast of that same fault, this is the Lucerne Valley. We've had good sized quakes here in the Lucerne Valley. This is a 1.3 tremor out here in the Lucerne Valley. This is an ancillary fault from the San Andreas. This is Yucaipa. Yucaipa, a 1.0 tremor there. Over in LA, this is Home Gardens. Home Gardens. This is an earthquake, guys. This is an earthquake. Wouldn't you know? Okay, that's all right. USGS did it again. It's all right. We can deal with this. We've done it before. They just stopped me showing the map. So I'm going to re-input the map. Bring it up again to show you what is going on in Southern California. Okay? So let's go back up here. This is Home Gardens. Folks, Home Gardens was getting hit with lots of earthquakes and tremors back in 2019, just prior, within probably 3 months or 4 months before the Ridgecrest earthquake. Home Gardens, California. They're calling this a 0.6 microquake. Home Gardens, okay? I want to show you something. This is out in the mountain area. The mountain area south of Home Gardens. Home Gardens is right here. That's Home Gardens. That earthquake is way out here, way south. But it is east from these huge quarries. Huge quarries. In the past, USGS has labeled these earthquakes out here east of those quarries quarry blasts. They're not. These are minor tremors and earthquakes. In this case, this is 0.6 microquake out here near Home Gardens, California. Okay? Now, going to back this out, you can see that big lake here. There are some earthquakes out here, and we're going to be talking about it very, very shortly. Over here, guys, this is Lake Elsinore, California. The reason I want to show you this is they've labeled this a quarry blast. Okay, I want to show you this. This is actually nowhere near the quarry. Nowhere near the quarry, guys. This happens to be a residential area. Farmland out here. Okay? Lake Elsinore. They grow lettuce out here, other fruit. I believe they have some tomatoes out here as well. This is Lake Elsinore area, east of the lake. East of the lake. Now, why am I talking about the lake? Those of you that have lived or have been near Lake Elsinore, you know that during the summer when it's really hot outside, what happens? What happens with this lake? Okay? The lake begins to smell. A rotten egg smell. Yes, there are some fish in this lake. Not many, because this lake also does not get fresh water occasionally. There are no streams or rivers running into Lake Elsinore. Now, they have a nickname for it that I bet some of you can guess what the lake is. The name of the lake is. It's called Lake Smellsmore. Richard Smith's wild potatoes. They probably do grow potatoes out here in Elsinore area. Yes, Winchester. They've got an area near here called Winchester. Winchester. And they have massive fields out in Winchester as well. All over this area. Marietta Hot Springs is down here. Okay? A ton of different places. Fields. Lake Elsinore is a good-sized town. A great place to live. From what I understand, the town has a lot of good restaurants and shopping facilities. I think they have a good-sized mall there. At least they were building one when I left San Diego County. I used to drive up here all the time. At the time, I had a cousin out here. Her husband died. I don't know whether she even lives anywhere near here now. Okay? Now, south of Lake Elsinore here, we go down Interstate 15. Interstate 15 connects Los Angeles proper with San Diego. As we go further south, we pass Lake Elsinore here, and we go down here into San Diego County. How interesting that is. Okay? We go down here into San Diego County. A wonderful place too, guys. I used to live here. How about that? How about that? Over here, this is on the Elsinore Fault. That's why I want to show you where Elsinore, California is. This is the Elsinore Fault here. This is Idlewild, California, the San Bernardino Mountains. Idlewild, California. Idlewild, California, folks, is a little town. It's a ski resort town, and during the summer, it's a place where people can go hiking and camping and just sightseeing. It's a tourist trap. They have wonderful shops where you can buy curios and various other things there. They have wonderful restaurants there. Any kind of food that you can imagine is there in Idlewild. I've been there before. I've stayed in an A-frame cabin one weekend and had a ball. Okay? Further south and west from Idlewild is a town called Aguanga. This is an area, a large area that they call Aguanga. It's North San Diego County. North San Diego County. Over here is the Palomar Observatory. We see an earthquake here, don't we? Okay? This is a 0.4 microquake near the observatory. This is also on the Elsinore Fault. On the Elsinore Fault here. Okay? Now, going up here to Idlewild. Folks, this is on the San Jacinto Fault. We follow the San Jacinto Fault further south, and we have the Anza, California area. The Anza Borrego Desert. The Anza Borrego Desert is over in northeast San Diego County. Okay? We do have earthquakes here. Okay? This is a 0.6 microquake. Right next to it is 0.4, actually 0.5 in a small town called La Quinta. La Quinta. Okay? Just northeast of there is also La Quinta. This is 0.6 microquake. Okay? That 0.6 is over in the desert area of the Imperial Valley. Okay? Just north of this wonderful waterway here. Okay? We're going to be talking about the Salton Sea in just a minute. But this is north of the Salton Sea. Okay? Now I want to take you over and identify places that we're going to see on the seismograms. This, folks, is North Shore Salton Sea. This is a community of North Shore Salton Sea here. Alright? A lot of farmland, a small farming community basically. Just on the northeast corner of the Salton Sea. Now further south here on the west side is a town we call Salton City. Right here. Now folks, the reason they called it Salton City is one time there was a thriving small city here. Now it is a ghost town. Very much a ghost town here. There's nothing going on here. Literally. There might be some kind of factories or some kind of facility like that, maybe pulling sand out of the desert. I don't know. But this is Salton City. So when I show you the seismogram of Salton City, you'll know what I'm talking about. We go further south here. Okay? Folks, this is another area. Okay? This is over near Westmoreland. Westmoreland. And folks, there are what shall I say? I want to get off on the right start here with everybody. There may be some new people here that never seen this before, never seen my presentation around the Imperial Valley. Over here on the southwestern side of the Salton Sea, okay? Westmoreland is right over here. But folks, over here, we have small facilities here where man has dug in, drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Salt Butte volcano. The Salt Butte volcano. And because of that, folks, we have facilities here that have turbines. And the hot steam that they pull out of the volcano turns turbines to generate electricity. And they're all over here. Literally all over this part of this north part of the Imperial Valley, just south of the Salton Sea. Now I'm going to go over here and try to show you one of those facilities here. You want to make sure, no, that's not it. They're all over this area right here. This is one of the facilities here. You see 2 banks of turbines here. There are 6 different facilities all around the Imperial Valley here. 6 different facilities with turbines that pull the steam from this Salt Butte volcano to generate electricity down here in the Imperial Valley. Okay? They do provide a lot of jobs here to people that live here in the Imperial Valley. Okay? Now, over here on the southeast side of the Salton Sea, okay, we have Calipatria here, and we have Nyland, California. Calipatria and Nyland, California. Okay, over here on the southeast side of the Salton Sea. Over here, I'm going to zoom into this area right here. This is where the San Andreas Fault. Let me back out here for just a second. The San Andreas Fault, you can see that red line. Okay, it runs all the way from Northern California through California. It comes down here and runs down the southeast side of the Salton Sea. Then it goes underneath the Salton Sea right here in what we call Bombay Beach. This is Bombay Beach. We have a lot of earthquakes hitting here in Bombay Beach. I want to make sure you see what we're talking about. Okay? This is important. Okay? Now, I'm also going to show you something else. Well, several things right here. Okay? I'm going to talk about El Centro, California. El Centro, California, the city of El Centro is right here. The military base is called Naval Station El Centro, NAS El Centro. It's right here. The seismograph that I'm going to show you the information from is right here at NAS El Centro, Naval Air Station El Centro. I've been there. I taught the cops out here how to investigate traffic accidents. Okay? So we're there. Then we come down here south to a town called Holtville. This is a town called Holtville, down here in south central Imperial Valley. This is where we're going to see the Salton Sea Desert Research Station. We're going to see earthquakes and tremors down here at the Salton Sea Desert Research Station as well. So I wanted to make sure I show you exactly what we're talking about, because we're going to be visiting this all over tonight. Okay? We're going to be talking about earthquakes all over Southern California, literally. I'm saying literally. Okay? Does anybody have any questions where we're going with this tonight? We want to make sure everybody is very well acquainted with what we're talking about. I think it's very important. Okay? Any questions? Space Force Al says, this is freaky something. Ain't kosher about the electric steam volcanoes. These are not electric steam. They're generating electricity from the steam going to the turbines that turn and generate electricity. They pull steam from the volcano to generate electricity at the turbines. Okay? It's not electric steam at the volcanoes. The steam is inside the volcano, inside the upper magma chambers. Okay? Space Force says he has a bad feeling about it. There's a lot of people that do. When I first was introduced to this years and years ago, I kind of felt bad. What happens if there's a major accident? What happens if the volcano blows and the steam from that volcano builds up and it goes nuts out there? Yes, it could happen. But so far that has not happened. All these volcanoes have been literally dug into, including Yellowstone. And so far Yellowstone has not blown out. There's been some earthquakes over there. Yes, around the Yellowstone area there, it has 3 calderas around Yellowstone. Around those calderas there's also earthquake faults. Okay, it's had earthquake faults. And we've had some good sized earthquakes in the Yellowstone area, and the volcano has not erupted. Okay? Alice asking, are they running out of steam? The magma rising? No, they're never going to run out of steam. 6 to 7% of all magma is water. 6 to 7% of all magma is water. So when that water reaches up here near the summit of the volcano, in the upper magma chambers of the volcano, it has water, doesn't it? They tap into the magma chamber and pull that boiling water out of the steam, and yes, there's water there, turns into steam. They pull that steam out of there to generate electricity at the turbines. Okay? That's what happens. That's what happens. And so far, they've not had any accidents there. And yes, you don't even have a clue. I'm sorry, you guys do have a clue. I didn't mean it the way it came out. Guys, I've been investigating this for a gosh awful long time. And in all my trips out there, I've been out there for about 30 years, on and off out there for literally 30 years. And in that 30 years, I've never seen a screw up. I've never seen them have a screw up yet. Yes, it can happen. We see all kinds of screw ups with these agencies literally all the time. But so far, there's never been a major accident. That's what I'm saying. There's never been a major accident because of them burrowing into the upper magma chambers of these volcanoes. Now, folks, they also do it down south in Mexico at the Cerro Prieto volcano. I showed you that last night. Okay? They also do it further north over towards Ridgecrest at the Coza volcano. This was all a wild idea about 40, 50 years ago. Senator Harry Reid from the great state of Nevada. Now, I don't like the guy. Yes, he was a conservative, but he was not really a conservative. He turned Democrat. He turned into a cotton-picking communist, a left-wing liberal. Okay, I'm not picking on anybody that's Democrat. I'm not. But that man was a left-wing communist. But he is the one, along with someone else, that came up with the idea of them drilling into the magma chambers of the volcanoes to pull steam out. Okay? He got the United States government to give the industry money to pull steam out of these volcanoes. Again, there's another complex way up in the Coza volcano area over by Ridgecrest, north of Ridgecrest. There's another one over north of Reno. There's another one over close to Well, it's in Sonoma County, California, Northern California. They've been doing this a very, very long time. This is nothing new. That's why we're talking about this. I want to make sure everybody is well aware of this. Okay, as we're talking about this. I think it's very important that we keep everybody on the same page that we're at, so everybody understands what we're looking at. Anyway, let's go back over here, okay? This is Bakersfield, California. Yes, Bakersfield, California has been having some seismic activity. There's no big deal here. Nothing more than just tremors here. Tremors and microquakes here in Bakersfield. That's all that's here. Period. There's nothing else here. Now, I want to go over to Barstow. Barstow, both Bakersfield and Barstow are near the San Andreas Fault. Near the San Andreas Fault. Here at Barstow, you don't see much of anything but large tremors. And I'm not saying large in size, but long duration tremors. Okay? They sometimes last upwards of 6 or 7 minutes. Just tiny tremors. 1.1, 1.2 tremors. And you can see them very well in this slide. Okay? Just tremors here in the eastern part of the desert here of California. It's not really even the eastern part. It's not the far eastern. The far eastern is over by Nevada. This is closer to populated California. Okay? This is Barstow. Now, I want to go south to Cabazon. Okay? I showed you a tremor at Cabazon. This is south of Riverside and north of San Diego. This is in the Anza Gap. They showed a 1.7 tremor. This is why I have gas when I think about the USGS. They have a 1.7 tremor showing at Cabazon, but this is Cabazon. Okay? Yes, we have a lot of tremor activity, as you can see. But if we go down to 8:30, look where it says 0800. That's 8 a.m. this morning. We drop down to the blue line beneath that. That is 8:30. 8:30 a.m. this morning. We go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes later. 8:06. We have some tremor building up, don't we? We go farther to the right. We see some 1.4, 1.5, 1.6 tremors building up, don't we? 1.8 tremors. And that's what we see for another 2 minutes. Okay? So about 8:10, 8:11 a.m. this morning, we have a 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. On that blue line, the length of that blue line, vertical line there, it's a 2.5 earthquake. A 2.5 earthquake. And you can see tremors and minor quakes through the rest of this seismogram. Okay? But yet, USBS does not identify these. Why do they not post it? Again, they don't want anybody to realize how the seismic system is building up here. The strength of these earthquakes is building up. Okay? Again, there's a reason I showed you this today. Okay? There's a reason. Because they don't want anybody to know exactly what is happening. Now I'm going to go a little bit further north to Chino, California. Look what we're showing you here. Okay? This is a lot of seismic activity. This is not big time seismic activity in terms of larger quakes, but this is a lot of tremors. A lot of tremors. Saturday there was a 2.7 earthquake and then a 3.8 here. No, it wasn't. This is in Chino. I was thinking Chico. In Chico, California, there was a 2.7 and then a 3.8 in Chico, California. But nonetheless, this is still a lot of seismic activity here in Chino. Okay? That's a ton of activity, guys. That's a huge amount of activity. That's more activity than we've seen there in Chino in a long time. A very long time. Okay? Now, while we're out towards the desert, I want to talk about Victorville. Victorville is where Isaiah's granny, my dear friend Isaiah's granny, lives. Look at what we're showing you here. Now, folks, when I pulled this seismogram, okay, I pulled it just after 2:30 this afternoon. Look what we're seeing here. Up at the top, this is 5 a.m. over on the left-hand side. Then the next black line 6, then 7, then 8, and so on. All we're seeing here are tremors. This is the San Andreas Fault out here in Victorville. Okay? Yes, we had some minor earthquakes here in Victorville as well. But right now, all we have is a bunch of tremors. Isaiah's granny has told, I haven't talked to her in a little while, but Isaiah's granny's told me in the past that she's felt seismic activity there. And several other ladies that we know that are part of the EMA family have also told me that. Okay? There's a lot of seismic activity out here. A ton. Literally a ton. Then we go over to Lancaster, California. This is on the eastern side of the LA area. Lancaster. Okay? Guess what? Again, the San Andreas Fault in full view. Look at the tremors here. Yes, there are a lot of microquakes. A ton of them. Look at the bigger tremors here as well. 1.3, 1.4 tremors, every one of them. And smaller 1.0, 1.1, 1.2 tremors. Okay? The San Andreas Fault over in Lancaster. There's an Air Force base out there. There's an Air Force base where one of my nephews worked out there as an air traffic controller. That's what's happening. Now, I want to just scope out here, make sure I've told you about everything that's going on out in the desert areas just east of Los Angeles first, before we explore other places. Let's see. Okay, let's go into LA. Okay? I want to take you into LA. Let's go over to Baldwin Hills. Baldwin Hills is over on the northwest side of Los Angeles. Baldwin Hills, if you haven't been here to this program before, Baldwin Hills is a huge oil and gas refinery with pumps and jacks all over the area. Baldwin Hills 70, 80 years ago was nothing but Baldwin Hills, a bunch of forested area there on the northwest side of Los Angeles. Well, guess what? They took a bunch of bulldozers and earth-moving equipment and leveled out those hills. There's no more huge trees out there. There's no grass growing out there. It's a huge oil and gas facility. Huge pumps and jacks pumping oil and gas out of here every day. Look what we're seeing here. This is very typical of what we see at the Baldwin Hills. These signatures on horizontal lines are nothing more than microquakes, and well, not even microquakes. All of these are tremors. 1.0, 1.2 tremors. However, down here on this red line at the bottom, Okay, this on the bottom on the left-hand side, far side, is 1:15 this afternoon. 1:15 this afternoon. Now we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. At 1:25, just before 1:25 this afternoon. This happens to be a 1.6, 1.7 tremor. Okay? A 1.7 tremor here. Now folks, we have not seen tremors here in a while. This size tremor, I should say. This is significant at the Baldwin Hills Oil and Gas Facility. Now, why do I say that? Let me take you back a few years. Okay? When we've had large quakes in Los Angeles, and I'm going to go back even and talk about the 4.5 earthquake in LA. 4.5 is nothing but a moderate quake. Okay? A 4.5 earthquake is nothing but a moderate quake. A 5.0, 5.9 are considered large quakes. We've even had 6.5, 6.9 earthquakes over in Northridge and a couple other places in Los Angeles in past years. Okay? But when we've had those large earthquakes, okay? When we've had those large earthquakes, guess what happens? Can anybody tell me what happens? The pressure goes down. The oil and gas pressures go down every time they've had a significant seismic experience, meaning a moderate to a large quake. 4.5 to 5.0 and larger. It's caused a dip in their oil and gas pressure that their pumps have. Okay? That's why we monitor this. Everybody else does. The USGS, every time there's a quake. And before there's a quake, USGS knows what's going on. And they tell the people out here, it starts with the politicians and filters down and out. The USGS talked to the people of Baldwin Hills. Hey, we've had this and that moderate quake. Can you tell us anything? Are the pressures down or up? They talk. There's a significant correlation between the oil pressure and gas pressures and the earthquakes. They made a big deal about this in 1985 when they made the movie The Great Los Angeles Earthquake. They even took a trip out there and spoke with two actors that were acting as supervisory personnel at Baldwin Hills. But the significance of that is the dip in oil pressure, the pumping pressure from the oil fields here in the Baldwin Hills. So this is significant. A 1.5, maybe a 1.6 tremor here is significant, and it may have caused a dip in the amount of oil pressure that they have coming out of these pumps. Okay? And when these supervisors sometimes see that, they will call USGS and tell them, hey, this is an anonymous call from the Baldwin Hills. We've had a significant drop in oil pressure. Okay? That is a fairly common occurrence out there. Okay? Why am I telling you that? Because it is very significant knowing what we know about these earthquakes in Southern California. You have to know this. When you study this, you almost have to know what's going on to understand what happens. Okay? Now, with that fact, what I'm going to show you here is substantial seismic activity occurring in the Los Angeles area. This, folks, is Rinaldi. Rinaldi. If any of you have been here during my lectures on earthquakes in Southern California, this also is a significant increase in seismic pressure. Seismic magnitude. Okay? For the most part, all we see are tremors, except for 2 locations. 2 times today. Okay? Look at the blue line that's second from the bottom. Okay? This happened to go at 12, what time was it? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 12:38 this afternoon. 12:38 this afternoon. Folks, that was a 2.6 magnitude earthquake. A 2.6 earthquake here in Rinaldi, California. Then, on that green line down here at the bottom, that green line is 145 over on the left-hand side. So this seismic event occurred at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes after that. 1:50 p.m. this afternoon. This appears to be at least a 1.6, 1.7 magnitude tremor in the Baldwin Hills. And yes, you do see some tremors building up and dropping back down to what we call background. Background is 1.2, 1.3 tremors that you normally see bouncing around on all these lines here. Okay? That's called background. Anytime we have significant increase in seismic activity, you can see it. You can see it. That's Rinaldi. Let's go take a look at Los Angeles, Del Amo. Look at this. This is the most activity we've seen at Del Amo in a very, very long time. It's been months, if not close to a year, since we've seen this amount of seismic activity at Del Amo. Up at the top on the black line, again, this is 5 a.m. this morning. Okay? You can see these black line reaches up to off the chart. Those are 2.0 earthquakes. 2.0 earthquakes. And there's probably plenty of them here because we can't even see because the colors have completely taken over the paper. But you can see on some of these lines how we have these larger quakes. There was one such larger quake that happened after 7:40 a.m. this morning. Okay? That may have been a 2.5, 2.8 earthquake. But you can see these earthquakes. They're not big, they're minor earthquakes. They're not even small, just minor earthquakes. These probably you can't even feel yet. But I'm going to show you earthquakes that have been felt that they refuse to put on the earthquake map. None of these things that I'm showing you today are appearing on maps. Okay? Down at the bottom on the red line, that is after 3:15 this afternoon on the far bottom left. 3:15. You see some longer red lines there. These are at least a 2.2 to 2.5 earthquake. The longer lines are 2.2 to 2.5 magnitude earthquakes. Other than that, those are nothing but tremors. But that's still a lot of seismic activity in Del Amo, California. Okay? Let's move over to Ellis. Ellis is another place where we've seen increased seismic activity. Okay? Look at what we're seeing here. Let's go over to the blue line just after 6:30. Look down, the top line is 5, the next black line is 6. We go down to the blue line beneath that. That is 6:30. Just about 1 minute later. Almost instantly we have a 2.5 magnitude earthquake. And as we move over to the right, okay, 6:32 a.m. this morning, we may have had a 3.0 earthquake. We can't see the bottom of that blue line going down because of the color of the other seismic activity that have happened after that. But folks, that is maybe close to 3.0 earthquake, if not a 2.8, 2.9. But that's a small earthquake. It originated just about a minute before and afterwards. After the 2.8, 2.9, or 3.0, it had another minute of seismic activity. That's why I believe this probably was a 3.0 earthquake. It had almost a full 30 seconds to 60 seconds of secondary wave before it dissipated into smaller body waves. And that body wave spread out again over another 2 to 3 minutes. That's an awful lot of shaking going on. Okay? And you can see a lot of these tremors building up here. Okay? But I don't believe any of the other activity here was as big as earlier this morning. These are all tremors and larger tremors. Okay? So let's continue here. Okay? Let's leave Ellis now and let's go over to Light Hype. Light Hype is over in the Long Beach area, east of Long Beach. This is Light Hype. Look at this. Now, folks, this is different. Yes, we probably had some tremors here, but now we're getting into 2.0, 2.3 magnitude earthquakes. Look at these longer lines here. Okay? Each line here on the left-hand side represents a time of 15 minutes. Each horizontal line is 15 minutes long. Okay? So what are we seeing? A bunch of minor earthquakes. Tremors and minor earthquakes, up and down, side to side, top to bottom, over here in the Long Beach area. Light Hype. Look at the bottom green and blue lines here. The blue line is 1:30 this afternoon. On the right hand side, this now gets to be about 1:40 this afternoon. Okay? Here we're seeing 2.0 earthquakes, tremors and earthquakes. On the green line over on the left hand side is 1:45. The longer activity here, the longer vertical lines, they're 2.0, 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes. Okay? Just so you know what's going on. This area, folks, is having earthquakes and tremors. Now, over on the center blue line, it appears that the seismic activity here, and we're talking at just before 9 o'clock, so this is on the left-hand side, would be 7:30? 8:30. This blue line is 8:30 this morning. Over in the center, these blue lines get large. So we may have had 2.5 earthquakes today here just after 8:30. And there may have been some others as well. So we're seeing earthquakes now. Earthquakes near Long Beach, just east of Long Beach. With that said, Let's look at State Street. Okay, I want you to take a look at State Street right here. This is over in the same area, folks. These are earthquakes. I don't believe much of any of this is tremor activity. This is all earthquake activity. Off the chart. Top and bottom, side to side. These earthquakes off the chart here. Okay? I think for the most part we're seeing 2.5, 2.8 earthquakes. We don't have any small ones here. I don't see 3.0 and above, but I see 2.5 to 2.8 minor earthquakes here. All right? So Los Angeles is going crazy right now. Los Angeles is going crazy. Some part of this is being felt over at Disney and at Knott's Berry Farm. This whole area. There's been some shaking going on, guys, and I will bet if we talk to people at Knott's Berry Farm, the security department or management, and see if they felt any shaking at all. Because, folks, this is getting to be serious activity. More and more of this is happening every day here in the Los Angeles area. This is the largest seismic events we've seen here at the Long Beach area. This is just east of Long Beach. Okay? Wanted to make sure you understood what we're talking about here. It's getting to be serious. I'm not going to lie to you. It's getting to be very serious. Let's go over to Moore Park. Look at this. Moore Park, we've seen more activity than this, but this is still a lot of seismic activity at Moore Park. Moore Park is basically a bedroom community. Yes, they do have some businesses here, no doubt. But it's basically a place of homes and small businesses. This is not downtown LA. But here you're seeing a bunch of tremors, aren't you? Absolutely are. And up at the top on that black line, you may have had some 2.0 earthquakes as well this morning. But for the most part, this is nothing but minor seismic activity. Okay? Let's go over to... I want to show you Part E. This is also a place of good-sized homes. Okay? Estate types homes. Moore Park as well. Look what we're seeing here. These are tremors, guys. I don't see any earthquakes here. No minor earthquakes, no small. These are tremors. But this is still a lot of seismic activity for Moore Park and Part E. Okay? That's a lot of activity here. Let's continue. Let's go over to... Oh, let's see. Where do I want to go here? Let's go up north to the west coast of LA. This is Marina del Rey, Playa del Rey area. Look at this. The top of this is showing microquakes earlier today. But the microquakes build up, don't they? Over 2 or 3 hour period, the microquakes get fairly large here. Okay? Then they turn into tremors. Okay? Look at all these tremors here at Marina del Rey, Playa del Rey. Okay? This is big. Yes, we've seen larger seismic activity here, but this is growing. Now, I've seen and I've shown you seismic activity here in prior weeks. This is building up. That's definitely building up. Now I want to go also down the coast. I want to go down to Rancho Palos Verdes. Rancho Palos Verdes. Look at this. This is also pretty much a bedroom community. Homes and homes and more homes here. Look at that. Tremors all over the place. It's not as busy as other places, but this is still building. This is still building. It's larger than it has been. Okay? Larger than it has been. Did I show you? No, I don't think I showed you Rio Hondo. Look at this. This is ramping up. Diana Meyer said this. It's ramping up. Yes, it is. Look at this. This is Rio Hondo. This is constant 1.5 to 1.6 magnitude tremors here. Constant. It started off this morning with 1.2, 1.3 tremors up there at the very top for the first 45 minutes or so, and then it ramped up to tremors. The seismic signals ramped up to tremors. Okay? So we know that that seismic activity is growing. Okay? Let's look at a couple other things here. Santa Monica. This is the airport at Santa Monica. Okay? Look at this. This is nothing more than 1.0, 1.2 tremors. That's it. That's all it is. Yes, there are some microquakes interspersed in here. But for the most part, this is just 1.0, 1.2 tremors. Nothing more. But for Santa Monica, that's still pretty good, given what we know about Santa Monica. Let's see here. What else do I want to show you? Palos Verdes, Hondo, Santa Monica, Santiago Peak. This is a mountain peak in Los Angeles County. Now, why do I talk about this? Because, folks, all of the television and radio stations have their transmitters up at the top of Santiago Peak. All the radio and TV transmitters and antennas are up here on Santiago Peak. Look at the tremors hitting here. No, we've never seen any large tremors. We've never seen any small earthquakes here yet. But you can see, if you remember what I showed you here before, okay, this is getting bigger. This is getting a lot bigger. Seismic activity is building here at Santiago Peak. It's building all over Los Angeles County. Okay, let's continue here. Let's see here. I've shown you State Street. How about Walnut La Puente area? Walnut La Puente. Look at this. Yes, this is a volcanic caldera in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, guys. Look at that. These are earthquakes happening at Walnut La Puente in Los Angeles. This is on the eastern side of Los Angeles. Look at that. These folks are 3.0, 3.5, possibly even 4.0 earthquakes. Small to moderate earthquakes over here in Walnut La Puente. Yes, you can see some smaller ones, but when they cut them off at 3.0, 3.5 rating, and that's what they've done, they cut off the bottom and the tops of these quakes, these signatures, so they don't show us the exact seismicity, the exact size of the quakes. Okay, that's what we're seeing here. Especially that quake up on the right-hand side in red. It was completely topped and bottomed off. We don't know how strong it was, but I'm saying it's at least a 3.5, 4.0 earthquake. Without a doubt. This is a volcanic area. This is the Walnut La Puente caldera. Okay? There's homes here. There's a lot of homes built up in this area. Rob52 has just told us about a 1.3 tremor over in Yucca Valley, out in the desert. Why does that not surprise me? Okay? Tremors all over the place there, guys. All over. Now I want to take you over to Watts. Watts is a gang area in Los Angeles. We see tremors here, don't we? But we also see possibly a building up of seismic activity to 2.0. Close to 2.0 here. Over on the black line on the right hand side, just after 3 a.m. this morning. Okay, this would be about 3:12, not 3:12, this would be about 7:12, 7:13 this morning. Possibly getting up towards a 2.0 earthquake. Probably a 1.7, 1.8 tremor. Okay? The seismic events are building all over LA. Okay? Watts hasn't been this busy in a while. The reason I haven't showed you Watts is because there really hasn't been anything to show. Nothing going on until now. It's building up. Okay? Now I'm going to go out to, well, first, downtown LA. This is at the LA County City Building. It doesn't show much of anything but minor tremors. Nothing. 1.0, 1.1, 1.2 tremors. That's it. With everything else going on all around the city, you would think that there would be bigger events happening here. Yes, they may have turned down the seismograph as they do all over in other places. They may have done that. They may well have very done that. Okay? Let's go over to Orange County. Okay? Let's go over to actually into Laguna Bell. Look at this. This is the southern coast of LA. Laguna Bell. All we see here are minor tremors. 1.3, 1.4 tremors. Tops. I don't think we see any microquakes at all. These are tremors. Okay? Tremors going on all day long. Let's keep going. Now I want to take you out to Orange County now. Now we're out at San Jacinto campus out in Hemet, California. We haven't had a lot going on at San Jacinto campus in Hemet, but seismic activity is starting to pick up here. Okay? Yes, you see 1.4, 1.5, even some 1.6 tremors here. Nothing very big, but it's building. This is the most seismic activity we've had here at San Jacinto campus. This is a college campus in Hemet. This is the most activity we've had here in a very long time. Let's keep going here. I think I showed you Rancho Mirage before. Okay? This is the San Andreas Fault out in the desert out there. Okay? In the Southern California desert. All you're seeing is tremor activity. Yes, there's some microquake activity, but a large part of this is tremor activity here. You can see it. Okay? Let's keep moving. I want to show you now Riverside. Good old Riverside. Riverside, folks, has gone down unless they turn down the seismograph. This is the lowest amount of seismic activity I've seen at Riverside in a very long time. Usually we have 1.3, 1.4 tremors, and now all we might have is 1.1, 1.2. That's it. Okay? This is the lowest amount of seismic activity I've ever seen at Riverside. So that tells me they've either turned it down or things have died down. And I don't think things have died down. I just doubt it. Judging by all the activity around it, north, south, east, and west, something's wrong with this picture. Okay? Because it's building everywhere else. Now let's drop down further south. Now I'm talking about San Diego first. I want to stop off in North San Diego County. This is the San Onofre Nuclear Power Station. The San Onofre Nuclear Power Station is being dismantled. It used to be an active nuclear facility when I lived in San Diego. And yes, there were some emergencies there, and they had to light off the sirens there. There still is a tank here with nuclear material there. Okay? It's being dismantled, but look at those domes here. There's still sufficient nuclear activity here at San Onofre. With that said, I want to show you this next slide here. Okay? This is what's happening at San Onofre. And yes, I could show you other slides of the San Onofre Nuclear Power Station right there along the coast, just west of Pendleton, Marine Corps Base Pendleton. Okay? You see a lot of tremors here and microquakes, tons of microquakes. But we're starting to see some tremors here as well. Again, this amount of tremors is the most tremors we've seen here. And I monitor this on a week-to-week basis. I casually go through here and look at seismographs maybe 5 or 6 a week. Okay? But this is the most tremors I've seen here at San Onofre. Why? You have to ask why. Yes, they're dismantling the complex, but that still does not account for these tremors, because you see it building. It's not every once in a while, but you see it building here. Okay? That's North San Diego County. Now, I want to go over to Palomar Mountain on the northeast side of San Diego County. This is what they show at Palomar Mountain. Well, folks, I showed you a 1.3 tremor. Guess what? That does not count for this tiny tremor you see here at the bottom right-hand corner of this slide. That's not a 1.3, it's just barely a 1.1, and it happened this afternoon. The 1.3 tremor happened earlier today. Well, guess what? It doesn't show on the seismograph. If it doesn't show in the seismogram, what's the problem? The problem is they've turned down or almost turned off the seismograph at Palomar Mountain Observatory. It's an astronomical observatory, and you would think the scientists over here that they would leave that observatory seismograph alone. They're not. I believe they're messing with that seismograph at Palomar Mountain Observatory. Okay? That's my input there. Let's continue our travels through San Diego County. Now, I'm going to go over here to the East County area of San Diego. This is Pechanga Casino on the eastern side of El Cajon. Look at this. This is also on the Elsinore Fault, the same fault that Palomar Mountain has. Look at all this activity here. Why does it not show on Palomar Mountain? Okay? If it shows here, some of it would also have to show on Palomar, right? Absolutely. But it's not. that means they've turned down the seismograph at Palomar Mountain. They've turned it down. Why? Inquiring minds want to know. I want to know. I used to live there. I frequented the entire area of San Diego County on a daily basis, all over San Diego County, north to south, east to west. The entire San Diego County area was my beat. I patrolled it. Okay? Now let's go over to Mission Valley. Mission Valley is pretty much the center of San Diego City. Mission Valley has a huge shopping center called the Mission Valley Shopping Center. It's a huge outdoor mall. All the big stores are there. Now it's getting smaller because some stores have closed down because of COVID. Okay, they closed down because of COVID. They might come back, I hope. We all hope. But with what's going on in our country, who knows? But folks, this is the SDG&E facility that is on the northwest side of Mission Valley. This is the San Diego Gas and Electric facility where they have a seismograph. Look here. What they're recording is seismic activity on the Rose Canyon Fault. The Rose Canyon Fault on the north starts over and hooks up with the Newport Inglewood, out in the water on the west side of Los Angeles. That's where it starts. The Rose Canyon Fault, guys, this is the most activity we've seen on the fault in a very long time. San Diego City needs to know, and you folks that live in San Diego need to know. If you don't already monitor this program and you have family that does, they need to know this information. Invite them to our program. Okay? Look at this in San Diego. This is just minor activity. 1.5, 1.8 tremors. Smaller tremors, but the ones that are larger are 1.5, 1.8 tremors. That is just lower than a minor earthquake. Okay? Yes, this is minor activity, but this is the most activity we've seen on this seismograph in a very, very long time, years. So seismic activity is picked up in San Diego County, right? You bet your bottom dollar, and guess what? The Rose Canyon Fault is capable of a 7.0 earthquake in San Diego County. That Rose Canyon Fault that leaves Los Angeles in the water out there, hooks up with the Newport Inglewood, comes down into San Diego County. It enters San Diego County around Encinitas on the coast, North San Diego County. Then it continues to straddle the coast all the way down to downtown San Diego, at which time that Rose Canyon Fault goes out into San Diego Harbor and over towards Coronado Bay, Coronado Island. So folks, this could still happen. San Diego itself could have a 7.0 earthquake on the Rose Canyon Fault. Downtown San Diego, North County San Diego. Okay? It can happen. It can happen. And if that happens, Los Angeles is going to feel that 7.0 major earthquake. Promise. That you can take to the bank. Now, I'm going to stop off out east from San Diego into the Imperial County area. Okay? That's where we're headed right now. Folks, we're going to go over to, where do I want to go first? Let's go over to El Centro Naval Air Station. Okay? This is yesterday. Yesterday I told you Some of you wanted to know what happened to El Centro. I told you 3.5 to 4.0 earthquakes. Look what happened. Yes, they have a lot of tremors here, but guess what happened? It started yesterday early morning, just after 13, 14, 15, 5, 15, and 45 seconds. Just after 5:15 yesterday morning. That's probably a 3.0 earthquake, not a 3.5. We can't see the top of it. The top of it is off the paper. Okay? That would have been a felt earthquake. Then later on, I'm sorry, this was last night. I'm sorry, my bad. This was not yesterday morning, this was last night. Okay? This started at 5 p.m. last night. So this earthquake, this 3.03.2 earthquake happened yesterday evening after 5:15 p.m. yesterday evening. And these other earthquakes here, look at the earthquakes here in the green. Okay, this would have been 9:45 p.m. over on the left-hand side. This looks to be at least a 3.0 earthquake. Then over here to the right, just 2 minutes later, actually 3 minutes later, folks, that is also a 3.0 earthquake. Then, just after midnight last night, 4 minutes after midnight, 4 minutes after 12, we have another 3.5, 4.0 earthquake. El Centro Naval Air Station, guys. A 3.5, 4.0 earthquake. And yet it wasn't reported by USGS. Go figure. Why wouldn't they report it? They don't want anybody to know it. Plain and simple. Let's go further east. I want to stop at let's stop at Westmoreland. This is over on the south, just southwest of the Salton Sea. Westmoreland has been seeing some tremors, haven't they? Oh yeah. Look at these tremors, guys. 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 tremors. Yes, we've seen a lot of smaller ones too. But these larger ones are 1.6, 1.7. Okay? That is Westmoreland. Let's go over to Calipatria. Okay? I've been dying to show this to you for a while. Folks, let's go up here to the top. This is over just on the southeast side of the Salton Sea. This is closer to the Salton Butte volcano. Look what we're seeing here. Again, this seismograph is starting to record images as early as 4 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Look what we're seeing. Tremor after tremor. Then these longer earthquakes, these longer vertical seismic signals. These are 2.0, 2.2 earthquakes. Okay? Some of these earthquakes are slightly larger. For example, you see an earthquake that happened at 9:40, about 9:50 p.m. last night. The red one, it's thicker there. It's on the center left. Okay? This lasted about 20 seconds. Okay? Probably a 2.2, 2.3 earthquake. No, these are not felt earthquakes. These are minor earthquakes. But you see a lot of them there, don't you? There are probably 30, I think it's 35 earthquakes here. Just in this area here. And that is before midnight. That is before midnight. And after midnight, we start seeing some very minor earthquakes. Very, very minor earthquakes. Then, what happens is we go through the early morning hours. Okay? This starts after 4 a.m. this morning. At 5 a.m. At 5 a.m. on the blue line here. Blue horizontal line. Okay? Each line here represents 15 minutes. We have another 2.3, 2.4 earthquake. Several of them there. Just twos. Look what happens as we go through the rest of the morning, guys. We get into 2.5s, 2.8 earthquakes. Yes, there's a lot smaller ones there too. But now we're talking upper side twos. Upper side twos. And that's all that happened. But folks, there's nearly 200 earthquakes. Over 200 earthquakes on the seismogram. That is just here. That is just here on the northeast side, excuse me, the southeast side of the Salton Butte volcano, the Salton Sea. Yes, I've spent a great deal of time trying to count these earthquakes. There's a ton of them. There's a ton of them. So now we've talked about the south side of the Salton Sea. Let's go over to the east side at Bombay Beach. And Bombay Beach, guys, we guarantee you there's an increase in seismicity there. Let me open this up for you. Look at this, guys. No joke. For the first hour or so, all we saw are microquakes and tremors. Small microquakes and tremors. Then all of a sudden it starts building up again. Now, folks, to be honest with you, this is the least amount of larger earthquakes that I've seen here. Usually you see 3.0s all over this seismogram, top to bottom, side to side. This is the fewest earthquakes we've seen here. But these earthquakes, for the most part, are all 3.0s. All of them. All of them. They start as small and get bigger. The only one that's really not is over here at the bottom right-hand side on the green line. Okay? This would have been 2:58 p.m. this afternoon. Is that right? I'm sorry, that's wrong. That would have been 12:58 p.m. this afternoon. We see a bunch of 2.0 earthquakes. Then continuing down here on the bottom left-hand corner on the black line. That's 1300, 1 p.m. this afternoon. All of a sudden it picks up to 2.0. It goes from tremors to 2.0 earthquake and back down, and then it builds up to earthquake status again, 2.0. But we have 3.0 earthquakes here. Usually there's a lot more of them. Okay? That is on the San Andreas Fault on the east side of the Salton Sea. Okay? We're not stopping here. I'm not through yet. Close to it, but not done. I want to take you down to Holtville, California. This is on the south central part of the Imperial Valley. Holtville, California. Okay, look at this. Folks, we have 2.0, 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes here. We have a ton of tremors here as well. None of these are connected to Calipatria though. There are minor ancillary faults all over the Imperial Valley. Yes, the ancillary faults also connect with that bigger fault, the San Andreas. This is what we're seeing, guys. This is Holtville, California. There's one more stop here. That's in Imperial, California. The town of Imperial, that's just southeast of El Centro. Okay, let's go show you where'd it go here? Right here. There we go. Folks, that is Imperial, the town of Imperial. Look at that. Isn't it interesting that all we have here are tremors? For the most part, long duration tremors. You can see it. There are very few microquakes here. This is mostly tremors. Usually we've seen full-blown earthquakes here at Imperial. Not today. We're going to continue to monitor this, and if we see full-blown earthquakes here at Imperial, we'll tell you. Okay? But this is what happened down there. Okay? In the southern part of the United States, Imperial Valley, where the San Andreas Fault leaves the United States and goes into Mexico. Okay? That's what's been going on. You guys wanted to ask me what happened there? Guess what? I just got through showing you. Okay, that was State Street. How did State Street get here? Okay, I'm sorry. This was Imperial here. This is the town of Imperial. Okay? Ruth St. John is taking care of her mom. Okay. Good. Good. Rob says a 1.3 hit over there in Borrego Springs. Okay, 9 miles east-northeast of Borrego Springs. Let me bring up the USGS map again, so you'll know where Borrego Springs is. Okay? Let's take down these seismograms and quickly go over to the USGS map. How about that? Went right to Southern California. Okay? Where this earthquake is. That is 9 miles. Actually, you know something? This is just Borrego Springs, period. It's not east-northeast of Borrego Springs. It is in Borrego Springs. Okay? This is not north of anything. Okay? If anything, it's just barely on the south side of Borrego Springs. Again, USGS better get their acts together. Okay, I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there because guess what? One of these days, I'm going to talk to senators and congressmen on video. And I'm going to call for an abrupt investigation of USGS. And I'm going to ask to be put in charge of USGS. Because apparently they've run amok. Because even here in San Diego County, yes, folks, this is northeast San Diego County, they have issues reporting earthquakes. Rarely do they ever get it right. That's Borrego Springs, guys, a 1.3 tremor in Borrego Springs. Okay? Let me take you further south here. Right here, this is Ocotillo, California. Ocotillo, California. I want to show you something. I believe I've got a seismograph in Ocotillo. And I'll know that in just a second, right here. This is a seismogram from Ocotillo, California. Look at that. That other one was a 1.9 tremor that they said was in Ocotillo. Guess what? There's multiple 1.9 tremors here in Ocotillo, California. And you can see it, but they're reporting one. Only one. Isn't that interesting how they can lie? Oh, only this is happening. Only this is happening. They don't want us to know. It's very apparent. Now I want to take you down here, okay? I want to go over here to one of my stomping grounds. This is Pine Valley. This is also a wilderness area on the east side of San Diego County. It's a 0.8 microquake. Pine Valley, California. They're not showing any earthquakes at all here in the Julian area. Nothing at all. Isn't that interesting as well? Because I believe I have a seismogram here in Julian as well. There's a seismogram in Julian, guys. Hold on a second. Let me take down this USGS map. No, they're not showing the seismogram. Doggone them. Here it is. This is Julian, California. There's some tiny tremors here, that's all. But they're not showing any there in Julian. Okay? None in Julian. That blue spot is Pine Valley. Julian is north of Pine Valley, in the hills and wooded area there. It's a beautiful forested area there in Julian, and yet they're not showing anything in Julian. 1.0 tremors, okay? But they're not showing it. Crazy as it seems, they just don't want to confess that there's something happening. Heaven forbid they tell us. Heaven forbid they tell us. One more place and then I'm going to call it quits. Okay, over here. They had another earthquake I was going to show you, but they've taken it down. It was in Lakeside, California, where I used to live. It was right next to the highway, Highway 67 in Lakeside. It was a 2.0 earthquake. It was right in the ground underneath an industrial facility in Lakeside, California. A 2.0 earthquake, minor earthquake. This is in Tijuana. This is a 1.4 tremor in Tijuana, Mexico, just south of the border. I think you can see the border region right there. Okay? You can see the checkpoint right there at the border. Okay? Down here. That's where that tremor hit. It's a 1.4 tremor in Tijuana, Mexico. Okay? That's a huge town. Tijuana didn't used to be that big. It spread out all over the place. When I went down there, Tijuana was nothing. Very little of nothing. Does anybody have any questions? Tomas is talking about Central Turkey region. Okay, start quaking there. Usually there's one quake or swarm there. There's a huge swarm there over on the eastern side of Turkey, not the central part of Turkey. On the eastern side of Turkey, there's a 5.5 magnitude aftershock. There's about 50 earthquakes over there. Let me show you. Let me show you. Okay? You don't have to just believe me, I'll show you. It's incredible what they don't talk to us about. You know, I have real issues with that. Well, guess what, guys? I'm here to tell you something else. Over 100 plus earthquakes here. Over 100 plus earthquakes there. USGS shows none. Shows none. Northeast of there, this is Azerbaijan. There's an earthquake, I believe it's a 4.2 over in Azerbaijan right there. Okay? There's earthquakes all over the place. Like I said, over near the Gulf of Oman, look at this. This is southern Iran. Let's start at the north here. A 3.1. Kyrgyzstan. Farsband has a 2.5. Then there's 4 other earthquakes over here at the Gulf of Oman. Okay? It starts off with a 3.6, a 2.8, a 3.2, and a 4.2. The 4.2 is that one inland. Okay? The Gulf of Oman there. To the east, also in Iran, a 2.8. Okay? Just barely northeast of there, this is in Majd, Hazrat, Abu Fazi, Sistan, Va, Balukas. Okay, and I'm probably butchering that name. This is a 3.9 there. That, folks, is a 3.9 in Iran. So USGS didn't show any of this. Not one thing. Over here next to the Caspian Sea, okay, in Azerbaijan, this is a 2.8, just on the western side of the Caspian Sea here, okay? Right there. That's a 2.8. All right? Like I said, they're not saying anything. They don't want to. They just don't want to. In Greece, look at this. 20 plus earthquakes in Greece. And over on the other side, there's another 9 earthquakes in the western part of Turkey and in the Dokkanese Islands next to Turkey. Yes, the Dokkanese Islands there next to Turkey belong to Greece. Okay? And how about across the bay over to Italy? Over to Italy. Look at the earthquakes here. 10 earthquakes over in the shoe of Italy. South Italy and over into Sicily. They're not talking about. And 9 earthquakes over here. Well, just one, they showed 9. This is in Croatia. That's a 1.2 magnitude earthquake in Croatia. Okay? But over across the ocean, okay, this is Marsh, Italy. These are 1s and 2s in Marsh, Italy. 1s and 2s in Marsh, Italy. Swarming. We had a 5.0 earthquake there several months ago. And it looks like it's going to come again because we have earthquake swarms. Northern Italy, a 1.7 today. 1.7 in northern Italy. In the Alps, this is in the eastern Italian Alps. This is a 2.2 magnitude quake. In the eastern Italian Alps. Okay? Switzerland. We have 1.1 and 1.5 tremor there in Switzerland. Just on the other side of the Alps. South of there in the Alps in France, and I'm not going to even try to pronounce the name of it, we have a 1.5 tremor. A 1.5 tremor here in France, right on the northern part of the Alps there. Okay? This is the name of it. I don't know whether anybody wants to even try to pronounce that. That's French. Okay? We have more earthquakes here in France. Look at that. Look at that. All the way up here into Brittany, France. A 2.2. Okay? All over. Northern Spain, Portugal area. This is a 1.6. There are other earthquakes there as well in south, well, just south of Spain there in the Strait of Gibraltar area. Okay? Okay. Just for kicks and giggles. One earthquake over at the border of Russia and Finland. There's a 1.9 tremor up at the border of Russia and Finland. The reason I went here, folks, is they've been having earthquakes over here in Sweden and Norway. Sweden and Norway. All over this area here. Sweden and Norway. Sweden's on the east. Sweden's on the east side. Norway's on the west here. They've been having a lot of earthquakes there. Today there's none. There's one over at the Russia-Finnish border, but that's all. Okay? The Canary Islands. For kicks and giggles. The Canary Island just south of La Palma. You've got a 2.3 down there south of La Palma. Okay? There's a bunch in Turkey, or a bunch in Iceland. 10 plus earthquakes over at the volcano down there in the south, and then 10 up at the top on the north side of Iceland. Wonderful thing. But they never want to talk about it. Heaven forbid. There are 9 minor tremors over here in the islands that belong to the Azores. Okay? These are volcanic tremors here. These are volcanic tremors out in the North Atlantic here. Okay? That's what's going on there. Like I said, does anybody have any questions? Earthquakes everywhere, literally. Any questions, guys? I know we're way past time. I started this broadcast just after 6 p.m. and now it's almost 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Don Patoga, Ginger Gal was asking, was there an earthquake in southern Illinois today? Well, folks, let me tell you. There was, but they took it down. There was, but they took it down. The only earthquake now they have here is the 1.77. Okay? The 1.77 here in Oklahoma. There was an earthquake in southern Illinois, and folks, it was over in this area right here. Southern Illinois, between Illinois and I I'm just trying to think. Illinois and Iowa, Illinois and Kentucky, something like that. I remember hearing about it, and then I went and looked at it. So yes, it was there. You did, if you felt it, they said it was just a small quake. And they're saying that there's like 14 felt reports. And I believe there's a lot more than that. Honestly. I believe there's a lot more than that. And for kicks and giggles, for you folks in Canada, guess what? The Canadian territories had, up in the Northern Territories, had a 3.5 at 3:52 p.m. Mountain Time today. Nahanni Butte, Northern Territories, a 3.5. Okay? Yes, we've had earthquakes there before too. Any questions? Ginger Gal says it was the New Madrid seismic zone. It was right at the Wabash, I believe it was right at the Wabash New Madrid zone. And we'll talk about that more tomorrow night. I'll see if I can come up and find that earthquake for you on the seismograms, because we have a whole 5 days worth of seismograms we can play with, and I have some from Illinois, and I can check it for you. So we'll talk more about New Madrid tomorrow night. Yes, you did have one. Tomas says, Space Force Al says, people left massively northern part of Norway, no future there, they say. The only reason they're saying that, guys, is their families live there. It's historical. Folks, I used to live in Sweden, and I've been up to northern Sweden in what they call Lapland. Their families live there. The younger people don't see a future there. They don't see a future because they want something better for themselves. So yes, a lot of younger people have left Lapland and moved south, both in Norway and Sweden. Okay? Yes, it has happened. Ginger Gal, yes, we want to thank Don Patoka for passing that on to us. Because I don't, guys, I have the chat right next to my main screen. But I'm so focused in on giving you information, I sometimes don't look to my left at the chat. I try. I really do try. Okay? Any other questions? Ginger Gal, that was a great question. I appreciate it. Don't ever think that your question is not good. It's not valid. It is. There is no bad question. There really is no bad question. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you. Now, I'm going to share a scripture with you right now. Okay? Tomas says, I think Sweden is in a better position than Norway. It might be to a certain extent. It might be. If you get up into Lapland, Norrland area like I would, Norrland is just south of Lapland. Once you get into Norrland, roads become icy. It is the tundra area. And it becomes more and more tundra and less trees and colder as you go north. And I've been up at Kiruna, up at the border of Sweden, Finland, and Russia. I've been there. I know what it's like. I've seen signs that say Russian border and border guards there, and if you take their picture, they'll take you, and you will never be found again. Never be heard of. Anyway, tomorrow, guys, we're going to talk about the New Madrid Fault and anything else that possibly happens. Tonight, I want to leave you with this scripture. This can be found in Philippians. I have a lot of favorite scriptures here. This is one of them. You might want to write this down. Philippians chapter 1, verse 27. That your rejoicing may be more abundant in Jesus Christ, for me by my coming to you again. This is the Apostle Paul. Okay? He was a great apostle, spreading the gospel, visiting towns and cities and neighborhoods, literally. Then in verse 27, he says, only let your conversation be as it becometh the gospel of Christ. Only let your conversation be as it becometh the gospel of Christ, that wherever I come and see you, or else be absent, I may hear of your affairs, that ye stand fast in one spirit, and with one mind, striving together for the faith of the gospel. Isn't that a great scripture from the Apostle Paul? I love the scriptures, brothers and sisters, I really do. I love giving you information that you can use to help protect yourself. That's the whole purpose of Emergency Management Associates. You and I sharing information to the public worldwide that can help everybody. That's why we're here. I hope you've had a good night. Please, brothers and sisters, share this channel with everybody you come in contact with. Your friends and neighbors, your family, your extended family, the people you work with, and even the social media contacts you see on the internet. Please share it widely. Everybody needs to see this. I share it on Facebook. I share it on Instagram. I share it on our Discord channel. I share it on MeWe. I share it on Parler until they shut down Parler, but I hope it will be back soon. I want this program to get out to as many people as possible. Okay? I share it all over. Please share it to your friends and everybody you have contact with. People need to see it. Also want to remind you again, please check your subscriptions, because this platform is taking people down. Make sure your subscriptions are still valid. If they're not, please subscribe or resubscribe to our channel. Okay? And when you do that, there's one other thing you need to do. Click on that little bell icon. It's a lot tinier than it used to be. Click on that bell icon. When you click on that, you'll see a drop-down menu of 3 items come up. Click on the top one. There's 3 items. Click on the top one, ALL, all. That should get you subscribed and notified when we come on the air, but not always. Because again, this platform is not honest. They don't tell everybody when we come on the air. We come on the air sometime after 6 p.m., between 6 and 7 p.m. most of the time. Last night was 8, because there was so much going on I needed to get out to you. But we usually come on between 6 and 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. On Sundays, we do a special Sunday school class at 12 noon. If you haven't seen that Sunday school class we did this past Sunday, just 2 days ago, please go back and visit our Sunday school class. I think you will be edified. I showed you a couple of videos there. Okay? I love the scriptures, guys. I love God. I love Jesus Christ. He indeed is our Savior and King. I hope you have a good night. If anything happens tonight, we will be back here on the air to talk about it as soon as the information becomes available. As Walter Cronkite has said, and that's the way it is. It's incredible. It is Tuesday, July 25th, 2023. For Emergency Management Associates, this is Ron Tyler. I hope you have a good evening. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Have a great one.